was a bad decision not to review that.
Mm-hmm.
Even if, they said that they looked at the replay a couple times, before the play, but, you only got 20 seconds between plays. Between the time when...
And it's not like there wasn't time, it wasn't like Pittsburgh ran their offense out there in 10 seconds, got everyone lined up, and took a knee. It was at least 30 seconds, because NBC had enough time to run about 5 replays of Kurt Warner's arm as it came back and the ball coming out.
Right. I think the NFL people were waiting for the Office episode, maybe.
They were like, let's just get this over with.
So, anyway, they called it a fumble recovered by Pittsburgh,
mm-hmm.
and then an unsportsmanlike conduct on Pittsburgh. So if they would have called that incomplete, then you have an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty that pushes them up to...
But the unsportsmanlike conduct was for the celebration after.
Right. So they originally call it fumble, so then he celebrates. And then
okay, if you're saying if they overturn it. I thought you were talking about if they called it incomplete pass, and then the celebration would have never happened.
Right. Plus, on the touchdown on the other play, the touchdown that Pittsburgh had, there was a celebration that they didn't call, so that could be
using the football as a prop.
That could potentially be 30 extra yards, which puts Arizona at the Pittsburgh 15-yard line.
Okay, but you also have to realize if they get those 15 yards from that, illegal celebration call that should have happened against Antonio Holmes, then their play calling changes because of the change in situation. So you don't know where they'd be.
All right. Well, whatever.
Okay. It's called alternate realities. We don't know about them.
So the Pittsburgh ended up getting the ball back. 5 seconds left.
Take a knee.
And the game's over.
Yep. Good game.
It was.
A lot more dramatics in the fourth quarter than what I thought there would be.
Yeah, the first 3 quarters, Arizona kind of fell asleep, I guess. Although their defense played decent. I
think their offense had more problems than what was actually being what you could actually tell from watching it. When I think back on it, I keep thinking that maybe there's something that Pitt was doing at the line for at least for the first half, that Arizona just couldn't figure out, and it was throwing their reads off.
Okay.
And then I think second half they just decided that they weren't going to care about what Pittsburgh did, and they're just going to do their own thing.
All right.
Because even third quarter, I felt a little bit more of a spark out of the offense. They didn't do a lot, but there was a better feel, a better mesh to their offense third quarter, and then fourth quarter you saw it with the 2 touchdown drives.
Yeah. Arizona second half came out of the locker room, I guess, and they played pretty good. Came back, took the lead. Then Pittsburgh, of course, scored on their second to final drive, I guess. So, stats, Kurt Warner ended up 377 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Roethlisberger, 256 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The MVP was Antonio Holmes, 131 yards and 1 touchdown.
Which I still think that Ben Roethlisberger deserved it.
I don't know. It was a toss-up,
But Ben Roethlisberger's the one that tosses the ball to Santonio Holmes.
Santonio Holmes is the one that catches it.
Except that he dropped the first touchdown pass.
Yes, he did.
And
Ben
Ben saved his line at least a dozen times on Sunday by scrambling, because there easily could have been 10 sacks by the Arizona Cardinals if Big Ben couldn't move.
I think Kurt Warner was the MVP. Personally.
He did have a pretty good game. 3 touchdowns against 1 interception and 300 and some yards was...
Yeah, it's not unusual to give the MVP to the losing team player. I think it's happened a couple times in the Super Bowl.
Well, that's considered unusual. There's been 43 of them. So
Well,
two
I mean,
out of 40.
It's happened before.
2 out of 43 is not unusual.
Well, you know what I meant.
No, I don't. I think MVP should be for the winning team.
Not necessarily. It's the
Yeah.
best player of the game.
No, it's the most valuable player, not the best. It's like, which player could they not do without? And I would say that Pitt, if they didn't have Ben Roethlisberger, would have lost the game.
Maybe, because then if they didn't have Santonio Holmes, they probably could have went to Hines Ward.
I don't know. Hines Ward wasn't exactly. I don't know if it was the coverage or if it was actually because he was injured. But Hines didn't play very well. I mean, he didn't get thrown. He didn't get thrown to a lot either. He only had 2 catches, and I can only really remember the one drop in the fourth quarter from the safety drive. But other than that, I don't remember him getting thrown to a lot. So it might have been coverage.
Could have been.
Yeah.
So here's a debate.
Okay. Okay.
Best play in Super Bowl history
Yeah.
between these three plays.
Okay.
David Tyree's catch last year. Harrison's 100-yard return, or Santonio Holmes' catch.
Okay. Now, in my mind, personally, I enjoy seeing Harrison's return.
guy's run.
I enjoy. Hey, I was a lineman in high school. I got 1 touchdown return off a fumble, and it was the greatest thing ever. I was dead tired after that, and I had to go run kickoff after that, and I really didn't run. I kind of did a light jog down about 20 yards, and then I started walking because I literally could not run anymore. So,
Okay.
I personally, for me, Harrison's run was the most rewarding. I would say that. I would say in terms of history that Holmes' play is going to be remembered as the best play in Super Bowl history out of the 3.
Okay.
But I'd say that David Tyree's, at the moment that it happened in that game, emotionally for fans especially, that completely changed that whole. Well, I don't know if it was not just the catch, but just the fact that Eli Manning escaped 3 different sack opportunities from New England and chucked the ball up. That whole turn of events just completely turned around. That was the biggest swing moment I've ever felt in a game. It's just wow, they just went from having absolutely no momentum to all of it.
But I don't know. I think the Harrison run back. I don't know.
I don't think it'll be considered the greatest because it came at the end of the first half, and they lost the lead to that later.
But at the time, I mean, it's 10-7.
I understand, but they still lost the lead, so it doesn't. I don't think you can. I think it'll be counted. It's the longest play in Super Bowl history right now. It'll probably stay that way for quite a long time.
Okay. At least a year.
No, I was thinking at least 5, but
it broke the record by former Michigander Charles Woodson, I believe. Yeah. Yes, Charles Woodson.
Yeah. So
former.
I just feel that its impact ultimately kind of got nullified by the fact that Arizona came back.